The Panhard EBR 75, the beast of World of Tanks, now here to grace us with its presence in War Thunder. By now let's face it, you've probably got it already if it's one you want. This video is a little late, but if you're still grinding or are wondering how to go about playing your new armoured car, then this video is for you. An 8-wheeled armoured car built by the French company Panhard and introduced to War Thunder as part of Operation Winter 2020, the EBR was used as an armoured reconnaissance and anti-tank platform by the French and Portuguese armies, and even the armed forces of Morocco to this day, as well as a hearse for the French President Charles de Gaulle. Jeez, that's extra. Sitting at a current battle rating of 4.7, the EBR-75 in 1954 fights predominantly T-34s, KV-1s, and some IS-1s, as well as Panzer IVs, Tigers, and Panthers, depending on how favourable of a matchmaker you get and what nations you're paired with. Either way, expect to see a Sherman or two in there as well, and be prepared to face jumbos if you're paired with the Axis powers. I say current battle rating because the EBR-75 is extremely powerful. In fact, I have little trouble calling this one of the more overpowered vehicles currently in-game, only even remotely balanced thanks to the still broken R3 T20 spam it can also go up against. This, coupled with the very strong French lineup of the 4.7 BR, makes it a bit of a no-brainer whether or not you should get this thing, to the point where I almost considered not making this video at all. But on the other hand, I'll take any excuse I can to play this thing, and it needs a review, which I'm sure no other content creators have done yet. The specific variant of the EBR currently seen in-game is the 1954 refit, which upgrades over the initial variant, in turn based on a pre-war prototype, with a longer 75mm gun. The EBR 1954 fits the FL-10 oscillating turret of the battle rating 6.3 AMX-13, with its SA-50 75mm gun along with a quad smoke grenade launcher. This means a constant 5-second reload thanks to the drum-style autoloader very familiar to French players. Like its contemporaries, you've got 13 shots before the 2 drums are out, and you have to refill them from the reserve ammunition storage racks, which takes some time. This makes the tank a winning pick for fans of the controlled aggression style of play, making sure that you've always got at least 1 round left in the drum for emergencies you hope to never get into in the first place. As the saying goes, I'd rather have one and not need it than need it and not have one. Also benefiting this playstyle are the smoke grenades of the EBR. Only having 4 that all fire simultaneously makes them useless for helping you hold a location or sit still to repair. The smoke launcher lobs the grenades quite far, meaning they take a while to hit the ground and create a smoke screen that sits about 40 meters in front of the vehicle rather than around it. The range also creates gaps in the smoke screen that dissipate quite fast, leaving a window for enemy tanks to see through. The main function of this style of smokescreen is to obscure the enemy's sightlines down a road or across a gap. Once in place, you can break cover and move across or between areas that would otherwise be inaccessible, allowing you to be extremely aggressive for a short time. This makes the EBR a fantastic pick for urban combat environments such as Advance to the Rhine, Campania, Alaska, or Sweden. One of the more significant downsides when compared to the AMX-13 that shares the FL-10 turret, however, is the lack of the PCOT-51P armour-piercing shell with a ballistic cap, which is even seen on the SA-50 Super Sherman at the same BR. Not only does that mean that the EBR lacks 20mm of flat penetration, but it also lacks the angled pen to go through the front of a Panther, while the Super Sherman and HBR AMX-13 both make short work of it. Even angled, Tigers should give you little trouble in the EBR, and most of the Russian, British, or Italian vehicles you'll face are pretty well food for this vehicle. Of course, as with any armoured car, the most major benefit of the EBR is its speed, which tops out at 105 km/h on paved road. Thanks to its symmetrical design with a driver in both the front and back of the hull, the vehicle can achieve these speeds travelling both forward and backward, although driving at such high speeds with flipped controls is somewhat of an art. The oscillating turret design means that there's a lot of weight counterbalancing the movement of the gun, making firing on the move at 50 km/h quite doable so long as the vehicle itself is driving on stable terrain. And the 4 metal wheels in the centre of the chassis make this the only armoured car in-game that actually retains its speed off-road. Or at least they should. For those of you who don't know, the main unique design feature behind the Panhard EBR is its retractable central wheels. When driving on roads, the central wheels are raised and only the 4 tired wheels contact the ground, giving the EBR very little resistance and allowing for higher speeds and greater manoeuvrability. When driving off-road, however, the 4 steel wheels in the centre of the chassis are lowered, giving the vehicle a very low ground pressure and allowing for better handling of soft terrain and better manoeuvrability there, as they bite better into the softer soil, snow or sand. Unfortunately, this is for the time being not modelled. Not only are the 4 central wheels permanently locked in their downward position, but their functional purpose on road isn't portrayed in game. This effectively means that you're getting the worst of both worlds, with the central wheels sticking you to the road when trying to manoeuvre on paved surfaces, but then not helping the vehicle in any way when it comes to driving over sand or snow, something the EBR was renowned specifically for. This can make it somewhat irritating to use in scenarios where you know it should be performing better, such as the off-road tracks of maps like Carpathians, where the EBR should still be highly mobile, but struggles to push past 30 km/h and is easily outrun by medium and even some heavy tanks, all thanks to Gaijin's lazy modelling. The EBR is also quite susceptible to having its wheels damaged, which, given that they cannot be fully repaired, effectively makes the vehicle useless for the rest of the battle, as even after repairing, the damage still slows the armoured car down by quite a lot. I have it on good authority that the functionality of the central metal wheels is going to be implemented at some point, ideally being added to the game alongside some tech tree models of this very famous and unique design that was mass produced for well over 20 years. Who knows in regards to the issue of its wheels not being adequately repairable, but we'll discuss that more in a moment. I've got to admit, I was upset to see this very highly regarded French vehicle come to the game as an event-only premium, and yes, that's right, the EBR is a premium, although with a relatively low Silver Lion modifier. This also means that the vehicle will not be made available on the War Thunder marketplace after the event, which in my opinion is a crying shame, but with 2 more variants of the EBR each fitting different guns, including the more signature variant of the vehicle, there's still plenty of hope that you'll get to try out one of these bad boys outside this year's event. As it stands, even without the signature feature of this vehicle, its low BR makes it one of the most enjoyable light tanks and scout vehicles in the game, and were its mobility to be improved specifically in the off-road spectrum, the EBR would be downright overpowered, if it isn't already. The lack of functionality of the middle wheels can make it feel quite standard for a light tank rather than impressively unique, and very analogous to the 75mm equipped Puma in the German tree. As a mid-tier light tank, it isn't overly reliable, particularly on more open maps, and this is where you'll need to lean back on the highly capable French lineup at its BR, with the premium and tech tree Shermans fitted with French guns. With the fixes mentioned before likely raising the vehicle to a BR of 5.3, this reliance on a lineup is not interrupted, with the 75mm Sherman Jumbo and 90mm ARL-44 tank destroyer ready to use with it at this BR. With the 4th crew member in the rear of the hull and a centrally mounted, low-profile power pack, the EBR is actually quite survivable, and one tactic you should always keep in mind is to turn and take incoming shots to the side rather than the front. With this in mind, it is highly recommended to take no more than 18 rounds of ammunition, as the storage bins have no protection whatsoever, allowing even secondary fragments to detonate large stores of ammo. The PCOT-51A round retains the exact same muzzle velocity and ballistic trajectory as the 51P round most French tankers will be used to using, and has very good horizontal dispersion. However, its poor accuracy in the vertical, coupled with the very significant recoil of the vehicle when side face, can make weak spot sniping a very difficult prospect. This means that the EBR is more suited to highly aggressive in-your-face flanking maneuvers than ridgeline sniping, and has increased survivability over other wheeled vehicles thanks to the design of its engine and transmission, and 4th crew member in the rear of the hull only benefit this further. Unfortunately, however, that rear driver is for the moment counted as a loader rather than a driver, meaning that a shot to the driver in the front will stop the vehicle for several seconds. One thing I highly recommend doing with the EBR-75 is learning to handle it in reverse, as the symmetrical layout of the vehicle makes it very easy to trick enemies into shooting that loader in the rear hull, allowing you to suddenly drive off in the other direction while they struggle to load a follow-up shot in time. When fighting the EBR, your best bet is to first deal with its turret, even if this means sacrificing the kill, as like many light tanks, its turret reverse will beat your reload in most scenarios. Abusing the poor elevation angles of the oscillating turret design is also a universally viable tactic against these French tanks, particularly on maps like Japan. From the front, the vehicle is as easy as any light tank to take out in a single shot, but from the side, attempting to stop the vehicle before then taking out its turret crew can be a tricky prospect. All up, the Panhard EBR 1954 is a very enjoyable vehicle that's only likely to improve in future, and as a unique premium with a powerful lineup, is well worth a look. The odd lack of the PCOT 51P round may end up being remedied as well, as the round did enter service 3 years before the vehicle. If you are looking to either buy out the event tasks or get the premium French Sherman instead, then I have to give it to the more versatile medium tank as one that should be your first pick. Combine both, and you'll very quickly work your way up the French tree, which in my own personal opinion is by far the most underrated nation in the game currently, although we're straying away from the EBR here. That's all for today's video. I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed and that it's given you a brief overview of the EBR 75 and whether it's right for you. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, and if there's anything you want to ask or think I neglected to talk about, then come follow me on Twitch at the link down below for our weekly live streams. Apologies again for this video being late, and finally a very happy new year to you all. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you lads on the battlefield. Okay. They've been really clearing up some kills this game. Oh, there's someone. That's Bradley. I love Sim. This is amazing. Ah.